4 of the practical theory course. So if you haven't watched modules 1 to 3, just go and watch them, because it's gonna be somewhat related to what we talked then, and it's not really gonna be beneficial for you just watching this without knowing the previous stuff. It's really like building up from the ground up. So yeah, go watch them. Now, here we'll talk everything about following the chords. And why do we do that? Like, why should we actually follow the chords? Well, in order to make a solo memorable, and I'm sure you've heard 1,000 solos and you remember like maybe 3 of them. Like when you play the song and you can hum the solo with the song itself, like you can almost play with the backing track, but you just hum the solo. Well, this is what we are aiming for. We don't just want to be fast and shreddy for 3 minutes and then the listener forgets everything they heard. Like some student of mine once said, well, I once listened to an Yngwie Malmsteen record, and he was thinking to himself, wow, this is amazing, but I already don't remember what just happened in the previous 30 seconds. So yeah, he's an amazing player. Maybe that student of mine wasn't particularly keen on his neoclassical style, so that's why he didn't remember them. Or maybe the particular song wasn't as good as I expect it to be when I'm thinking about Yngwie Malmsteen, and rememberable as well. So here's how you make the solo rememberable. We have to make the listener feel something. So we have to remember, so they have to remember the feelings they get, not particularly the solo. It's like a byproduct of remembering the feelings, because the notes really do represent feelings. And the way that we could do that is either through following the underlying chords or just playing some weird notes. So outside notes of the major scale, if we're playing over a major scale, and this is done through modes. So we already discussed the modes. Well, now let's focus on following the chords. And it does sound kind of weird and unclear what I'm talking about following the chords, like how do I actually follow the chords? Well, here is the framework. So the examples I'll give you are as simple as possible. Let's just say that there are 2 chords in the backing track or the song that you're playing a solo over. So let's say, for example, maybe they're an E minor and a B minor. This is step 1. Figure out which chords are in the song. It might be 5 chords, it might be 10 chords, it might be even only 2 like we're doing here. But just for the sake of exercise and for the sake of understanding, well, let's just keep it simple and we'll go with 2 chords, E minor and B minor. Now, step number 2 is actually playing these chords. So just finding one position of the fretboard where you can play these chords. Maybe it's, let's say, for E minor, it might be the root position, so the 7th fret of the A string, and for B minor it might be the 2nd fret of the A string. Cool, so now you know how to play these chords. Well, it's time to actually start following them. Now what I mean by that is, well, an E minor, the most important note of E minor is what? It's not the major, it's not the minor third, it's not the 5th, it's just the root note, so an E. And which is the most important note of B minor, for instance? Well, it's not the minor third, it's not the 5th, well, it's just B, right? So, to make things as simple as possible for starting out, you just play some phrase, play some lick, maybe it's a shreddy scale run, maybe it's just something slower and more rememberable. And the idea is that you finish on the root note. So like you play something maybe for 30 seconds, and then when the E minor chord comes in, well, you finish on an E note and accent that. Accent just means that you take more, you place more emphasis on the same note. So it's just maybe a little vibrato, maybe a little bend and something like that. So you just play something and finish on the root note. For B minor, of course, this would mean you play something, doesn't matter where on the fretboard, might be here on the higher positions, might be here on the lower positions. But the idea is that you just finish on a B note. Stop there, like make it ring for a little bit, maybe do a little vibrato over it and all of that stuff. Step number 4 is actually playing the other chord notes of the chord. So like you can already finish on an E note, but it's gonna be more interesting if you, for example, accent the other notes. So for E minor, well, it's gonna be a G note. The minor third is gonna be a G, and the perfect fifth, well, it's gonna be a B note. It's just a coincidence. It's not what I was going for, but yeah. You can accent those notes as well, and maybe if you accent, for example, the third of the chord, so like G for E minor, and for B minor is gonna be D. So if you accent G or D and go to E or B respectively, well, it's gonna sound like something unfinished grabs you and pulls you towards something finished. So it's like a very good way to go to the root note. And I really do take the time to understand the logic behind them, because yeah, I can just say, well, just sometimes finish on a G note, sometimes finish on the E note, sometimes maybe finish on a B note and all of that stuff, and you're not gonna understand you're not gonna understand what's happening. Like, this is a side topic, but a lesson not only related to guitar, is like really have a good strong reason, have a good strong purpose of why you're doing something, because well, most of my things would not be here. Like, I would not have what I have right now if I didn't have a good purpose. Like, it's 9 a.m. right now. I woke up literally 20 minutes ago. Do you think that if I was just saying, yeah, I'll just record one video, I don't really care about that, but I'm just gonna record one video, do you really think that this is the first thing that I would do after waking up? Like, literally brushing my teeth, going to the toilet, and I'm here recording in 9 a.m. and 10 minutes. So really do have a strong purpose. Like, when I'm recording, I'm not just thinking, yeah, I'll just do one more video. I'm thinking, yeah, maybe this is going to help someone like younger me. So younger me didn't really have things to rely on, like super consistent YouTubers or super consistent authors of books that I could read. So I should always be searching for something new, something really small. And I want to make this for you, and I want to make this easier for you. So yeah, really do have a strong purpose. Know why you're playing the G note and then going to the E note. It's gonna sound like something unfinished. So when you finish on a G note, it's the third, and any third of any minor or major chord sounds unfinished, and then going to the root note sounds always amazing. Even better if the E minor chord is underneath, like what you're playing, you stay a little bit on G and then go back straight to E. And step number 5 is probably the most fun step, is, well, just add a few licks that you already know, like add some interesting phrases, maybe add some interesting techniques that you know. For example, if the E minor chord comes in, why not do an E minor arpeggio? If the B minor comes in, why not do a B minor 7 arpeggio? It's gonna sound awesome. And when you couple that with the phrasing ideas and the staying on the root or the third of the chord or maybe the fifth of the chord, well, you're already gonna sound way more advanced. Like, you're not just playing some random stuff staying in, let's say, E minor, because if you're just staying in, for example, the well, maybe B Phrygian, and you're over B minor, it's not gonna sound particularly interesting. Yeah, it's not gonna sound super generic, but it's not gonna be very memorable. So if you couple that, your favorite guitar player's licks and something that you did by yourself and some techniques that you like, and you couple that with the phrasing, you are gonna sound super advanced. Of course, if you need tabs and more explanations for these kinds of videos, you can just get a membership for my Discord server. If not, already nice, you're already learning.